White Rabbit, all these weeks been trending, and here he is, Bray Wyatt, finally back in WWE after a 2-year hiatus, fiending for followers. One of the tweets here at Fiend for Followers. In quotes, "You guys saved my life." It's a direct quote from Bray Wyatt tonight. Damn, man, that shit was real. Did not expect that side of Bray at all. Promo was not what anyone expected. What we saw Extreme Rules, right? When Bray Wyatt came out at the end, that was very on brand for him. It was a cool reaction to see. A lot of questions going on. Is it going to be a stable based on the characters that he had from the Firefly Funhouse? What were we going to expect tonight in a SmackDown? That's not what anyone expected here. And then it was a very heartfelt promo. And he seemed to get misty-eyed. He seemed to get emotional for real. A great ovation from the fans for him. But then it ended a little weird, Puddy. Which makes me think, are we all getting worked here from that? Is it all like kind of like Mark Henry did that whole retirement speech and it wound up being a swerve in his character? What did we see here tonight?
What is yes? Absolutely, dude. I was the same way, dude. I'm like, he's coming out. I see the tears in his eyes. He's been out of the ring for how many months now? Finally, he steps back into those ropes, excluding Extreme Rules, because he just strode off the ramp and disappeared. He stepped inside the ropes, inside the confines of a wrestling ring. And that crowd reacted how I've not seen a crowd react in ages. So those tears I totally bought into. I believe that was Mr. Wyndham reacting to the reaction he's got. You saved my life. Again, like, all right, that's when I started wondering, what's going on here? I feel like something's amiss.
But here's the thing.
I feel like that was part at blurred lines of reality and storyline. That's reality. I feel like that's how he felt. Right. Truly, that's how he felt. But that led the door open to but that could lead to this. So what he said, I believe, is true, but also opened the door to what the fuck we saw in the last 2 minutes of SmackDown.
Yeah, so I think you're 110% right there.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Stop. Pause. Repeat that.
You're 110% right, buddy. I think what we saw there was because he's just such a creative genius, by the way, Bray Wyatt. I think he knew in his heart there was no way, especially after all that he went through, there's no way that he can go out there, especially after the ovation he got Extreme Rules, go out there and not express how he felt, right, as a human being. I believe every word of that, what he said was true. But then there's like that dark, sick, twisted, creative mind that he has there, that you could just, whatever we saw there at the end, right, it's just gonna turn him, right? And he could use whatever you said there for whatever fuel that dark demon, whatever you want to call it, is going to use to take his wrath out on the rest of the WWE locker room.
Have you heard the names of who could be in his stable?
One name I heard was Aleister Black.
Okay, yeah. But who would he fill in?
I don't know. Buzzard? Would that be
it? So we heard different stories here, because from what I read today during lunch break at work, was it you had the characters that we saw in Extreme Rules come to life.
Right. Which I don't know how I feel about that, but if anyone could pull that off, it's him.
Because during the video package, they were all covered in webs and dust, which I'm kind of happy about, because I don't want to see Pee Wee Herman and the Fiend come back. Of course, and he has to evolve, which he is. So from what I heard, of course, I think everybody knows about Bo Dallas coming back.
Right.
But now we have our boy, good friend of the show, Joe Gacy, coming back as Hoskus. Grayson Waller coming back as the version of the Buzzard. and Alexa Bliss coming back as Sister Abigail, which is a moot point because we've been saying that for years.
There was
But
talks
Joe
of Liv
Casey
Morgan,
and
though.
yes, Joe want to touch upon because her digital exclusive interview after her match, she was just sitting in the corner, rocking back and forth, a la Mankind, and then she just stared. She just stared at the viewer, I forgot who it was, and just like
And,
didn't say a word.
and then the smile at the end of the match
Yeah.
at Extreme Rules.
Well, not even at the end, during while she was getting choked out, she was smiling.
Right.
I'm like that. I think that would be better than Alexa Bliss, but of course we have that built-in storyline with Alexa Bliss.
But Alexa Bliss, again, how they ended off, though, she betrayed him.
Yeah, exactly. Keep thinking about that. You're right. I forgot about that. You mentioned it a couple weeks ago. I'm like, yes, that's right.
So it wouldn't make sense for her to go back.
No, it wouldn't. Exactly. I'm like, what's going on here? But then also seeing like Bray Wyatt's back, and then again, he has an alter ego. I'm like, okay. What is the crux of this dichotomy here? Using big words. I'm curious. I'm not sold. I'm not bought in. I'm curious where this will lead to. Very happy he's back. This is the best place for him. No disrespect to AEW. I feel like this is the best place for him. I mentioned that numerous times in the past. And here we are. He's back. They sold it in Extreme Rules. What a great comeback for him. Props to the people who call it the honoring of Brody Lee with the bright white lights in the door.
Yeah, that was awesome.
I totally missed that until I read that. I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. Props.
And props to the production team, as always, the unsung heroes.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
That really sold the hell out of it. And hell, great new theme song, by the way.
Yeah. But is this new masked man that we saw in Extreme Rules and interrupting him on SmackDown, the new Fiend? Is this his new alter ego? I'm gonna wait a couple weeks because it's gonna take several weeks for us to get any answers before I buy into this. Again, I wasn't a huge Fiend fan, but this shows more promise. I can't explain why. Maybe because of the delay in the comeback, but until they coincide Bray Wyatt and this masked man, I'll reserve my judgment.
Well, it does make me think, like, how much you're gonna hate this, but like how much say or how much override power did Vince McMahon have in Bray Wyatt's ideas? Could that have played a factor in derailing any momentum behind Bray Wyatt? Like Triple H may not fully understand Bray Wyatt, but he definitely understands the fact that he definitely understands the fact that Bray Wyatt and trusts that Bray Wyatt, his creative decision making is could be a moneymaker.
From what I read, though, is like Shayna Baszler, did you read this? And Ronda Rousey had creative freedom on their backstage interactions when Ronda Rousey was feuding for the belt. Because I think it was early summer when they would come out and had some brief interactions on screen.
Right. Yeah.
That was totally up to them. That wasn't scripted. That was like, you guys do what you guys want to do. I feel like this is the same thing. Like, all right, Bray Wyatt, do what you want to do, and we'll react. We'll react after the fact. I feel like the Fiend like fizzled too soon because he was buried so much. Not the fans' fault. It was this man's fault. Well, Triple H, I'm curious to see what happens with this new masked man who is yet to be named.
I forgot who mentioned it. I think it was on No DQ. We're saying about Bray Wyatt, about his in-ring work. Yeah, it made something to the effect about his in-ring work. A remark about that. Yeah, so I commented back. It's like it had nothing. There's no question about his in-ring work. His in-ring work was always solid. It's the booking that hurt him.
Yeah, absolutely. The booking made no sense. The Fiend, Pee Wee Herman, back and forward, and then him losing when he had momentum.
Goldberg, Seth Rollins,
but that was Saudi Arabia. The Hell in a Cell was a different story. It's like, okay. But anyway, that's the past. We have the new, whatever his name is. Obviously not the Fiend, because the Fiend mask was on the commentary table, which I really enjoyed how they introduced him. I didn't enjoy the fact that he just introduced them with no reason.
Mhm.
Main event was over. Go home, let's do this. But all of a sudden lights go off, and then we have the characters in the audience. And now here he is for no reason. That could have waited a couple months for a reason. But now we have all these characters, and apparently the characters are going to be part of his stable. He has a stable of 6 people.
White 6.
Okay.
It's gonna be intriguing, man. Listen, the dude has been trending for 2 years and it didn't make an appearance anywhere at all.
I think the tears in his eyes were legit.
Right. No, totally. I think he felt like he had to do something, and if he's finding a way to blend it with his character, I think that's just honestly, it's genius. It's no other word other than genius.
I'm not a fan of the Fiend. I wasn't a fan of him. But there's no denying his genius, and I'm so happy he's back because his creative genius is second to none in this industry.
Right. There's a handful of people creatively that you could say that about, the psychology and the genius, the creativity. It's him, Jake the Snake, and Undertaker. Immediately pop into mind.
That's fair enough. Yeah. So props. I'm looking forward to how this plays out and the explanation of who's who. How is Bo Dallas come back? How is, if the rumors are true, Huskus, Joe Gacy, and the other guy come back? Alexa Bliss comes back, like you just mentioned, numerous weeks. There's a Fallout WrestleMania 36.
I blank out which number it was, but
no,
yeah,
37. 36 was, so who knows? The moral of the story here is there's so many questions left.
So many questions. So many. That's the thing with Bray Wyatt, what you love about him so much. He'll give you a little answer, but then he just opens the door for so many more questions.